For more behind-the-scenes content, download the Cardiff City Google extension for your home browser.
To purchase a pass for live matchday coverage on Cardiff City TV, visit the official Cardiff City FC website. Once logged into your Bluebirds Club account, navigate to Club TV and select Buy Packages. Select the pass you wish to purchase and click Buy Now. Next, fill in your payment details and click Submit Payment. Once your purchase has been successful, you will see this message. You can also check your purchase by clicking the Manage Your Subscriptions button. You now have instant access to live matchday coverage. Visit Club TV and select Live.
More's free in the box, 1-0!
Live streams begin 1 hour before kickoff, and recommended desktop browsers are Mozilla Firefox and Google Chrome. You can also watch or listen on the go via the official Cardiff City app. For technical support, email Cardiff TV support@streamamg.com.
Welcome back to Cardiff City TV.
Over the wall, and into the goal! It's cut back to Rolls, and Rolls fires home!
Good afternoon, welcome back to Cardiff City TV for this afternoon's live Sky Bet Championship fixture, which pits the Bluebirds against Luton Town. I'm afraid we're talking again about Cardiff needing to bounce back from a disappointing loss, this time the midweek performance and result away at Coventry. And alongside me, a man that was so disillusioned with what he saw on Wednesday night, he ended up putting up his Christmas tree in November. John Donovan, it was a particularly poor night at the office for Cardiff on Wednesday.
It was hard to watch. I think the final 20 minutes against Millwall, we hoped would roll into Wednesday night. You know, we've been looking for a tide to be turned, or a corner to be turned, I should say. And again, we took that Millwall game. Maybe that was it. And the Bluebirds were dominant in the last 20 minutes. But again, they failed to start a game well. The first half was okay. Cardiff probably should have had a goal, unfairly disallowed. But, you know, it wasn't a first half that probably justified the Bluebirds being in front. And then probably the least said of what happened after the break, the better. And I think management, fans, team all felt a little disillusioned on Wednesday night.
If you try and pick out a brief, maybe silver lining, the effort and the endurance and the performance from Kiefer Moore was there again. He's a striker that is in goals and taking his chances, other than the Bristol City game, you can say. But what's obvious at the moment is the crosses aren't coming in from the right angle. We're not getting to the byline and getting balls into the box for him.
No, and I feel for him in the sense it's a bit of a double-edged sword, because he's not work shy. He's a striker who wants to work, and as a result, he's coming into positions to try and affect the game where maybe he's not having the greatest impact. And as you rightly say, I think you and I talked about pace at the start of the season. You can talk about formation, you can talk about anything you want, but pace is, and pace on the transition, pace on the counter-attack is vitally important. I don't think this Cardiff City team is as pacey as it once was, perhaps even as pacey as the team that finished last year. We're not penetrating into that final third, we're not getting to the byline. A lot of those crosses are coming from hanging balls from full-backs, 5 yards outside the 18-yard box, and Kiefer Moore is attacking it with a standing static jump, and you're just asking him to win bits and pieces. So there's a multitude of issues there, I think, at the moment. But yes, I do admire Kiefer Moore and the fact that in a team that is struggling for confidence, he is trying to affect it via his work rate.
We expected changes, we've got changes. Neil Harris makes 3 to the starting lineup for this afternoon. Most notably, Will Vaulks comes into the starting lineup. Will Pack dropping out of the midfield unit. He ended the game, obviously, at St Andrews. Vaulks, another midweek substitute. Shea Ojo gets the start this afternoon. He comes onto the left-hand side of midfield to replace Junior Hoylett. And up top, Mark Harris gets his first championship start in 3.5 years. John, Glatzel and Moore just haven't worked together as a strike partnership outside of that Barnsley game where everything clicked as a team. So Mark Harris gets his chance.
And I don't think it's a bad shout. I think with Glatzel and Moore, again, I think Glatzel's tried to work hard when he's come into the team. He's tried to show that he needs to challenge Kiefer Moore via his work rate and in his endeavour. For me, they're two strikers at the moment that are coming towards the ball. And you've referenced it a couple of times. I completely agree with you. They're filling the same space a lot of the time, and there's nothing in behind. I must admit, and a lot of people will disagree with me, I was disappointed that Josh Murphy went off so early on Wednesday. Not because he was particularly affecting the game, but because that pace in behind, you've always got a chance. And I think Glatzel and Moore, both of them have qualities as footballers, but I think they're both coming towards the ball. I think Kiefer Moore needs someone to play off his shoulder. It's a big call for Mark Harris today. We've got to be honest, because Neil Harris was honest. He needs a win today. The club needs a win today. And you're asking a youngster who hasn't played for a long period of time to come in and do that. But maybe, just maybe, it's a player playing without fear. It's a player that hasn't been mired in the maybe poor performances that have come about lately. So hopefully Mark Harris can be that spark that gets the rest of the team going.
Nice fun, Mike. Good book.
Thank you.
Now, in terms of Mark Harris, and to keep on that, are Cardiff looking like a team a little stuck between stations at the moment? Want to play a 4-4-2, perhaps need to play a 4-2-3-1. They don't really know which way to go because they're desperately trying to add creativity and goals to the game.
Well, I'm like a broken record with you. I blame the Cardiff City team for that QPR game on New Year's Day and Northampton in the Cup this year, because I think wing-backs would be a way to go for Cardiff City, but the couple of times they tried it, and I think it was more to do with personnel having off days. It didn't work for them. I think that's a formation that could work for Cardiff City, but anyway, I won't get distracted with that again. But I think you're absolutely right. I think Neil Harris, knowing that Cardiff City are in a bit of a mire, he was very much a 4-4-2 man at Millwall. Maybe it's a little case of trying to go back to what you know, but again, we go to Glatzel and Moore maybe not being a partnership that can play that, particularly in a 4-4-2. You do need someone to dart off the shoulder, go in behind. Hopefully that's Harris. The 4-2-3-1 was very successful, not just under Harris. It was something that Neil Warnock implemented a lot, and particularly after a lockdown when the Bluebirds went on that playoff run, it was a very successful formation. So yes, I think Neil Harris at the moment caught between a couple of schools of thought, a little bit of a rock and a hard place. But again, I go to the fact you can play any formation you want, but maybe if you don't have the right personnel in the right places, it's never going to have the desired effect. And again, I go back to maybe a lack of pace. At the moment we're playing, and I know you're going to touch on it, with a right back doing a sterling job filling in, but he's not someone who can comfortably go up and down the byline. So you're trying to find a formation, but you've got a lot of square pegs in round holes.
For Luton Town, just the one change from Nathan Jones. That sees Ryan Tunnicliffe come back in place of Elliot Lee. So it looks like certainly a change of personnel. Might need a change, a reshuffle in formations as well. We think Keenan Dewsbury Hall is going to go and play on the left-hand side of the attacking three, with Tunnicliffe coming into the midfield. Or they could switch to that midfield diamond that served them so well during promotion of League 2 and League 1. And a lot of those players are still here. You look at the particular area of strength of this Luton team, and it's in the middle of the park where Cardiff don't have a great deal of options. Probably why Will Vaux has come in for Cardiff this afternoon.
Well, we do our research, Ash, and I was reading Nathan Jones talking about this Luton team this season, and what a great escape that was when he took over again. What were they, 6 points from safety? And I think he said he's now got the strength in depth where he's not looking just for survival, and lest we forget, they're 10 points clear of the relegation zone at the moment. He's looking to push on. He's talking about playoff places, and I do think they have increased their strength in depth. A lot of those players they brought in, particularly some Welsh internationals, are on the bench at the moment. We know they're good players. He's going with the players he knows. You're absolutely right. In midfield, he's got an abundance of options. We're talking about another team that started off the season playing 3 at the back. He's gone back to 4 at the back, but in midfield, he's played a 3, he's played a diamond, he's played a holding 2. So Nathan Jones has got a lot of options, and he's a young manager who's not afraid to use those options. He's done a great job here at Luton. I think they've forgotten now that little spell when he left them for Stoke. He's forgiven, and this is going to be a very, very tough matchup today.
Two very different emotions amongst these two camps at the moment. While Neil Harris has ever faced up to the criticism of the press yesterday and faced probably his toughest press conference during his tenure in Cardiff City so far.
I think when you're a manager and you're not getting the results and questions come flying your way about your tenure and about the loyalty that you show the players, then of course you want that group siege mentality, and that means a manager supporting the players, of course, but then the player supporting the manager as well. And I always talk about us as a group. At times, over the last 13 months, been critical of the players. Of course I have. That's my job. to demand more. And there's probably been times when the players have probably not been too happy with me either when I've left them out of the team or made changes. But as a group, we are close, and I do support my players. And it is you get to a stage where you go, right, come on, lads, I need you now to step up and perform. I think we've got enough good leaders in the group to know that we take collective responsibility. The lads know that our current set of results isn't good enough for what's expected of us. And what ultimately, Rob, most importantly, what we expect ourselves. We know the demands of the football club and the demands we put on each other, within our changing room, and we haven't got the results. And ultimately, the good lads and the good pros, they stand up and be counted when it happens. And that's what I expect from a group of players tomorrow. The 2 penalty areas have been the problem. We've not been creative enough in one box. We've conceded the first goal too often at our own in the pitch. And when we have conceded the first goal, it's not because we've been opened up by teams or cut through or had tactically got it wrong. It's because we made errors. So we have to try and eradicate the errors. Well, if you look at the goals we conceded 13 goals in 13 games, which isn't a lot. Slightly too many. But if we went through the course of the season only conceding, say, between 40 and 46 goals during the course of the season, and then we were to score 55 to 60 goals, that would be plenty enough to get in the top 6. Goal difference of plus 10 to 15, easily get in the top 6. And ultimately, we've give poor goals away, the first goal too often, and then we've not quite been efficient or ruthless enough at the other end. The process in between, majority of the time, has been fine, but we've got it wrong at those ends, and that's what we've got to get right. And when I talked about being loyal to players and the way we play, but I have to look at it and say, well, we have to change certain things. It's not about wholesale changes because you don't get any rhythm or anything, but it's just adjusting, and we're going to adjust. We'll have to adjust, and I'm honest enough to admit that, and sometimes put your hands up and say, right, we need to adjust, and we'll be looking at different scenarios before tomorrow's game. Whenever I've had quiet spells or barren spells, I've always come the other side and won games of football and gone on long runs. At the moment, if we're going to do that, we need to start immediately. It needs to start tomorrow. But I'm coping fine because I know the work we put in is diligent and it's hard work. And ultimately, I care about the football club. Want to be a big part of it. So, try and make the right calls. And I think that's all you can do as a manager. Speak to my players, spoke to the players today, speak from the heart to let them know that I care. And I know they do as well. So ultimately it just becomes tomorrow 3:00, picking the right tactics, picking the right team. And then when the players go over the white line, you put trust in them to a certain element. I don't necessarily need fans in the stadium, with all due respect to them, to know what the opinion of the fan base is going to be. I'm a football fan myself. I know when I watch a team play well, I don't play well, and sometimes you're patient, sometimes you're not. I know at the moment there'd be a real impatience to the fans. I am kept abreast of some things, and I am conscious that, of course, restlessness because they want success. And over the last 7 years, been used to that as well, Scott. So, of course, I know they're not going to be happy at the moment. I know Ben Element, don't want to see me at the club. I know everyone have an opinion on team selection, who should play, who shouldn't play, who should be in what position. That I understand that. That's the beauty of our game and why we love the game so much. I think the fans in the stadium will just add to that. Where I would love to see the fans is because I think at times we've needed the fans to jolt the players. Our players, when we've maybe started slowly and the fans let them know they've started slowly, and then they rally and get behind the lads, and then one feeds off the other. We've missed that. But also, I think certainly at the Bristol game, for example, when we conceded after 3 minutes, but then they didn't really get in our half after that. And sometimes you need that passionate fan base just to push you over the line. Just to jolt the opponent rather than yourselves. So, from my perspective, I'd want them back in as quickly as possible.
Welcome back to Cardiff City TV. Neil Harris there talking very openly yesterday with the press ahead of today's fixture with Luton, and of course after that disappointment in midweek against Coventry. And I thought the illuminating thing was, John, that he said that he doesn't need the fans in here to know and understand how they're feeling, but he certainly feels the club are missing the fans in here to be able to raise that tempo during games, and especially when you go behind.
I think it was a fair point. You can't make excuses, like you can't make excuses for the goal we conceded on Wednesday night. A couple of experienced pros making mistakes that you just wouldn't expect them to expect them to make. But certainly, I took his point regarding Bristol City that we just needed something to push us over the line. We were creating chances. I don't think it was as exemplary a performance as perhaps we have looked back at it or spoken about, but there were chances created, and I think if you had 20,000 passionate Bluebirds fans in here, or 25,000, 30,000 passionate Bluebirds fans in here, there might have just been that greater adrenaline rush and that greater pressure on the opposing side, and I think that's where the lack of fans makes a difference. We've all talked about it. Referees, if there's 30,000 Bluebirds in here, I would imagine that the Cardiff City gets 60% of the decisions as opposed to a 50-50 split. I imagine a back four of Bristol City, when they're coming under siege on that Friday night, might start to feel the nerves a little bit more as the ball's being sucked into the net, hopefully. So I do take his point on that. He needs the fans back in here. That would be a boost for Cardiff City.
And the other thing you mentioned that's undeniable, that Cardiff haven't been in really sloppy goals, not scoring enough for the other end, and to keep coming back to the same point, conceding the first goal in matches, which is key. Because, all right, you look at the midweek and you look at Millwall, if Cardiff had got the first goal in either of those games, and we did have that perfectly good goal disallowed for Sean Morrison in the week, all right, it doesn't change the fact that it's not a great performance, but sure as hell changes the fact that it could have been 3 very scrappy points instead.
Absolutely. Look, you and I speaking, and I appreciate sometimes, and I'll say it, people think that we're maybe a little naive or a little embedded in the club. As a football fan, I can still see improvements between the penalty box that Neil Harris is doing, and I want Neil Harris to succeed because of that. But no, in either penalty box, we certainly haven't been good enough, and that first goal, you could only see when Junior Hoylett scored against Barnsley so early on. It was a shot in the arm. The entire team lifted, the dugout lifted. We were lifted on commentary. It was a completely different evening here. The Bluebirds haven't scored a lot in the first half. You're a stats man, Ash. You'd be able to tell me that we very, very rarely score in the first half, and it just needs that one sucker punch to catch us out. No, I'm not suggesting we're playing beautiful football and they're all sucker punches. We've been poor in a lot of games, but sometimes if you get that first goal, you can go on and manage a game, and the Bluebirds haven't had that luxury at the moment.
Well, I'll give you that stat. Now we'll explain just how important the first goal is going to be today, because that is the only first half goal that Cardiff have scored in the last 10 games. Luton they've only scored more than one goal once in the last 10 games. They've only scored more than one goal twice all season in a game, and they came against Wycombe and Derby. So there's not going to be a great deal of goals in this. There shouldn't be a great deal of goals in this this season. But if you look at statistics, tight, and that first goal is going to be so important.
It is, and you made the point a couple of questions ago, and I didn't probably answer it. Folks has come back in. He was another bright spot on a dark evening at St Andrews during the week. He came back in and in the last 20 minutes gave legs and looked to lead the press. That midfield battle is going to be crucial. Again, I go back to personnel. I still think, Aaron Gunnison left, and obviously the late Peter Whittingham. They haven't had a midfielder. And I think the Bluebirds are missing that perhaps. But yeah, the midfield battle leading to who gets territorial advantage, who can get.
Finding out how that's going to go. If you are watching for this afternoon's game, because you can't watch it on YouTube, off to continue. Mark Denham. Support, but Hoylett gets the ball into the box, looking for Vassell, and Vassell finds the back of the net. Sluga committed himself, and the Cardiff striker gets there first. Surely that's all 3 points.
Yes, a lot of that is down to the defensive work.
Tomlin makes real turn, shoots, scores!
Tomlin with a precision finish from the edge of the area. Good football from Cardiff City, moving the ball from right to left.
For more behind the scenes content, download the Cardiff City Google extension for your home browser.
To purchase a pass for live matchday coverage on Cardiff City TV, visit the official Cardiff City FC website. Once logged into your Bluebirds club account, navigate to Club TV and select Buy Packages. Select the pass you wish to purchase and click Buy Now. Next, fill in your payment details and click Submit Payment. Once your purchase has been successful, you will see this message. You can also check your purchase by clicking the Manage Your Subscriptions button. You now have instant access to live matchday coverage. Visit Club TV and select Live.
Moore's free in the box, 1-0.
Live streams begin 1 hour before kickoff, and recommended desktop browsers are Mozilla Firefox and Google Chrome. You can also watch or listen on the go via the official Cardiff City app. For technical support, email Cardiff TV support@streamamg.com.
Doma trying to get the strike on it. Well, that would have been a real gift. And they have a lot to thank.
Proud partner of the EFL.
Get your kick.
0-0. Patterson almost inside the final 20 minutes.
Following your heart. Follow in your heart, in spirit, in soul. You make every tackle, score every goal. You're part of it, wherever you are in the world. From the first minute until the last kick. Victories, heartbreaks. You're part of the fabric, the passion, devotion, supercharging emotion. For you, there is only one. Abiding loyalty, togetherness that is second to none. Follow every kick, every tackle, every goal. With access to live stream games and matchday commentary, with coverage spanning the globe. Behind the scene content, newsletters and match highlights. There is no better way for you to get closer to your club. And with iFollow sales supporting them, no better way to show your love. You can't be there with iFollow.
Welcome back to Cardiff City TV.
Tommy over the wall and into the goal! Cut back to Rolls, and Rolls fires home.
Welcome to Matchday Live with me, Mark Denham, and our special guest this afternoon, former Cardiff City player Roger Gibbons. It's a huge match today for the Bluebirds, disappointing midweek against Coventry City, but changes have been made today, and the manager has clearly gone for a slightly tweaking in terms of his attacking formation to hopefully get the best out of this squad against a Luton Town side that, with the greatest of respect to Luton Town, Cardiff City will be targeting for 3 points. Roger's been a difficult season in many ways, but this is the perfect opportunity for some players, particularly young Mark Harris today, to come in and show what he can do.
Absolutely, yes, and I think you're right. It's a bit tricky, you know. We're down the table. A couple of performances haven't been great lately, and the results haven't been consistent. So you talk about performances and results. Today we need a result, you know, just to kind of get a little bit back, and then hopefully the performance is there, and bringing in one or two, you know, fresh bloods always just gives it a little bit of a lift, if you like. So yeah, looking forward to it. Looking forward to seeing Mark. I think he deserves his chance, and see how we go.
Well, thank you for joining us today. It's great to have you with us, Rog, and thank you for joining us as well on Matchday Live. We'll be bringing Ashley James in to join our commentary team very shortly. And Luton are just taken to the field now as we speak. City with wins home and away against the Hatters last season. Nathan Jones now back at the helm. And as the Bluebirds take to the field to our left also. The start of a big few days for Cardiff City. Huddersfield Town here on Tuesday evening as well. And you can join us for that one live as ever. And now just looking at that graphic there in terms of the personnel Neil Harris has chosen today. Another opportunity for Will Volks, Roger, as well. I mean, we know what Will Volks is about. He's full of high intensity and passions, been in and out of the side a little bit, brought back in today. Opportunity to, you know, do what you like to do and give it a bit out in the middle of the park.
Yeah, I think when push comes to shove, you know, when you maybe need a result or you maybe need to change or you're looking for something and it's not quite right, you go to your players that give you that, you know, and Will certainly gives you that. You know, I like him, you know, I think, as you say, plenty of energy, gets about the park, and, you know, with him and Joe in the middle there, you know, two lads that will do that. So that's not to say that the others don't, but I think again, it just changes and tweaks it a little bit, and you know, hopefully it will work for us. I mean, and there's the option as well. I mean, because what they're going to play, they're going to play 4-3-3, 4-2-4. We'll find out.
we're going to have a minute's silence for Diego Maradona ahead of kick-off, who passed away at the age of 60 earlier this week. Very few can be named in that very top echelon in our sport. Diego Armando Maradona is one of those.